My guest today is Mark Miller. With nearly 40 years in tax and wealth management, Mark helps business owners, executives, and high net worth individuals build, protect, and sustain their wealth. Featured in over 200 major publications, including Kiplinger's, the New York Times, and Money Magazine, Mark has also appeared as a financial expert on Fox News and national media. Recognized as a Presidential Businessman of the Year, he received a personal recommendation or commendation, sorry, from President George W. Bush. Thanks so much for joining me today, Mark.
Well, thank you, Diane. It's a pleasure being here.
I'm thrilled to have you here. As I told you before we started, this is our three tips series. So, my first question is this. Um, it's not a zinger, but it is a question. How are
I
the
can handle
ultra
a zinger.
wealthy? Okay, good. How are the ultra wealthy legally slashing their tax bills? And what can successful business owners start doing today to follow that lead?
So yeah, you hear that all the time about the wealthy don't pay taxes. Well, they do in a roundabout way, in many ways to help the economy grow. But technically, people are talking about, federal and state taxes, maybe to get to a zero tax bracket, which is our goal with every client that we work with. Don't get there with everybody, but most people we do. And how is that? Well, first of all, your CPA or your person that's doing your taxes are generally doing just that. They're doing your taxes. Most CPAs work in an advanced form of TurboTax. That happens to have like a CRM so they can keep track of the, two or 300 tax returns that they're doing every year. And a CPA can have a fine little practice doing that and doing a lot of tax returns, doing a little bit of auditing, maybe some business tax returns, and they're fine with that. The vast majority, about 95% of them, are not doing any kind of proactive tax planning other than, hey, here's the best entity to be in and make sure you max out your 401k or your IRAs or whatever. So tax planning is a whole different level. The wealthy utilize, go deep, deep into the codes and utilize everything. Obviously, everything the Hiltons and us do is legal, moral, ethical, but it's all in the codes, things like that. And the wealthy, that's what they do. They just do more advanced planning. It's really about having access and about having kind of that ability to be able to tap into these strategies that the wealthy generally have. Well, through I'm the manager of the Hilton Family Office, and through our spinoff company, Hilton Tax and Wealth Advisors, we've been able to bring those strategies a little bit more down to Main Street, the average investor or the average business owner. And it's not too good to be true. It's just about knowing where to go and having proper access and knowing and having that deeper dive into the 160,000 pages that are in the tax codes now.
Yeah, so I'm so glad I asked the question. That makes perfect sense to me. So my next question is, what's the biggest myth about building wealth that you see hurting successful entrepreneurs, and what do you think they should be doing instead?
Well, so we work on the smart money side of the business, or what we in our industry call it the wholesale side, as opposed to the retail side.
Okay.
And how the smart money invests is massively different than how retail investors invest. So here's a great example. Let me take it high level.
Okay.
You rarely see the wealthiest of the wealthiest, like, fall off the Forbes list, Forbes 100 or whatever. The reason is because first and foremost, they're protecting their wealth. Most people and Americans will see all of these. Warren Buffett's a great example. You see everything about Berkshire Hathaway and all these equity things he's doing, and he's taking all this risk and all this type of stuff. But reality is the majority of the wealthy have the vast majority of their portfolio safe and secure, maybe 50, 60, sometimes 70% of their portfolio. And then they're doing riskier things with say 20, 30, 40% of their portfolio. So if something goes wrong, by the way, they make very calculated risks and very, very calculated risk. But if something does go wrong, they haven't lost their fortune because they made a bad play on that high risk side. So, first and foremost, actually, believe it or not, the smart money focuses on safety and security, number one, and first, not their returns, like on the retail side. How do we know that? How do they sell mutual funds, which is the biggest seller on the retail side? Go in, pick this mutual fund because we've got this little schematic that shows you the 1, 3, 5, 10 year performance, which one looks best to you, and buy an investment. Okay. That's not how the wealthy do it. They know the returns are just going to be there on the smart money side, so then they focus on securing the vast majority of their portfolio. They're still going to get the returns because ironically they'll have a lot less volatility and get better returns long term than retail investors. But they are mostly concerned about protecting their wealth long term and their legacies long term.
Wow, that is fascinating. So they'll go with funds that just give them a steady climb instead of this, hitting it or doing this, having no
Right.
idea, and it goes up and down.
Sure, it's about volatility. Okay.
Okay.
And most people don't understand and don't even know the concept low volatility investing, which is how the smart money folks do it. And what that means is that if you have really what you're doing is you're protecting your downside massively. So you don't have a year when you're down 20, 30, 40%, which most retail broker says, well, that's fine. Don't worry about it. You're invested for the long term. Just play it out. The problem is, and by the way, I think we're setting up now for another giant. This could be the mother of all downturns because the market has been racing for so long. The longer that goes on, the harder it's going to fall. And if you lose 40, 50, 60% in a given year, it
Yeah.
could take you 4 or 5 or 6 years just to get back to even. If you're down 50% in your portfolio, it takes 100% returns to actually get back to even. So in low volatility portfolios, maybe we would only be when that market correction happens with our clients, maybe we're only down 10%. So then it's easy to get back up to even within a year or so, and you
Yeah.
can start making money again. So ultimately, when you have less volatility, you actually make more returns over time than if you're playing that roller coaster ride. And like you had mentioned, kind of looking for that rocket ship returns. And boy, you're getting great returns now and these crazy returns.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden you're down a huge amount and it takes forever to get back to even.
Got it. Wow. Hugely valuable. Thank you
Mhm.
for that. Okay, here's my next question. Um, for business owners who want to turn income into generational wealth, what's one move that you think they should make before the end of the year?
Well, ironically, if you really look at how the wealthy really get wealthy, it's by tax mitigation.
Okay.
So, because when you make a lot of money, and especially if you make a lot of money in your business, when a progressive tax system, you're going to pay more and more exponentially on your taxes.
Yeah.
So if we fix that, then let's just say that you saved enough on your taxes on an annual basis to represent a 20% return on your money. You've just guaranteed yourself a 20% return and you did nothing. That's just passive returns. So that's really how the wealthy get wealthier is by doing advanced tax planning and mitigation. And then, of course, some of the things I just talked about, obviously having low volatility portfolios, doing it in that sense.
Right.
But yeah, so avoiding those taxes can automatically mean that money goes right back into your pocket and helps you build your wealth over time. So what really can protect legacies. Great story. Many years ago, and some of the your listeners may remember this, but front cover of Time Magazine, Newsweek, all that, when Bill Gates and Warren Buffett got together, and the headline was, "We're giving all our money away." Okay. Well, that's misleading. It really was misleading. And I knew at the time, even when I was not so heavily into the tax planning that me and the Hiltons are now,
Mhm.
that, wait a second. Okay. You have noticed that neither one of those people has dropped off in the last 20, 25 years since that happened
Sure.
off the wealthiest of the wealthy list.
Yeah.
Is basically what they did was they put their money into positions where it can be protected from taxes, but still generate tons of income and tons of investment returns for them. So they're right. That tells you right there what the strategy is. It's to lower the taxes ultimately. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, obviously, they're still giving that money away and they're
Sure.
doing great, incredible things.
Yes.
But that's what the wealthy do. They can still do great things, but they also can benefit and build their family legacy on the other side by saving massively on their taxes.
Got it. Wow. It, I've learned so much in just this period of time.
I hope
Mark,
so. Yeah.
yeah, huge. And thank you so much for sharing this with our listeners. And speaking of our listeners, will you tell them how they can find you, please?
Absolutely. They can go to our website, make it very simply, which is hiltonwealth.com. Very simple, hiltonwealth.com. And on there too, we have, if they're very interested, we've got a latest book that I did with Brad Hilton, who is my main partner. He is the grandson of Conrad Hilton that started Hilton Hotels. And Brad and I, in conjunction, wrote a book called Hilton Wealth: How to Invest Like an American Dynasty.
Wow.
And you can go to the website and just go to our resources section, and you can order the book complimentary on us. We'll send it to you, and we'll talk about some more of these just incredible concepts and how the smart money really does things, as opposed to, I'm not going to say dumb money because none of us, I mean, none of the people on the retail side are dumb at all. But sometimes those companies treat people like that, like they're dumb. And the
Yeah.
reality is, it's just a matter of having proper access and knowing how to go about investing like the smart money invests.
Yeah, boy, you are not kidding. I mean, this is so eye-opening. I love this information and am so grateful that you have spent this time with us. So again, thank you so much.
Well, thank
Perfect.
you. Thank
And
you. And it's
listeners,
a pleasure being on with you.
I'm so glad you have been. And listeners, thank you. You are who we're doing this for.